So, other big news that has happened this year is that on the 7th of January, Zuck made a major announcement that Meta was replacing fact checkers with community notes and loosening rules around what people can say in the apps. This was, of course, met by generally huge negativity. You can see in the comments section there. It's thought that this will now open up the doors for more hate speech in any of Meta's apps. Meta is revising its content rules to permit more discussions on politically debated topics such as immigration and gender identity. They are reintroducing more political content into users' feeds, reversing on their previous efforts to reduce such content over the past 4 years. Meta is also discontinuing its third party fact checking program and it's moving to a crowdsourced program. So, this is where the community will be able to add notes to anything that they want to flag with a view that community notes will show up in the system, which will define and kind of explain anything in more detail, offering um, a reduction in misinformation. Community notes are going to be implemented across Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. So we don't know what those community notes are going to look like exactly, but they are similar to X's community notes, which we're going to take a look at in a moment. A community note program has, or community notes section has appeared in the help sections on Instagram and other platforms too. It includes details on the functionality and guidelines of how this is going to work. You can join the waitlist to be notified when you can join the platform, the program. So basically, what they want is for people to join the waitlist to say that they want to join the program and be able to leave community notes on topics. So there is, of course, a lot of news and opinion being shared around this about whether it's going to work, whether it is going to protect the platforms enough, how it could potentially be abused as well. One of the things to note is that Facebook certainly doesn't have the dominance it once did around the political agenda. So there are lots of conspiracy theories as to why they have made this move. So one of the things we're just going to have to keep an eye out for is how they're going to look and how they're going to work. We have seen this screenshot, which is from the app researcher Alex193A, who shared how this might look in Threads. You can see on any post you see, you can click the settings and write a community note, and then your note will be anonymous. It gets submitted. I guess the system then works out which community notes it wants to show. But it can certainly be abused. So Meta has told advertisers that community notes won't be available on paid ads. They're only going to show on organic posts. But it hasn't gone into any detail about the plan for brands or influencers' unpromoted posts. X's approach is different. X does allow community notes to be posted on any post, whether it's paid or not, but it does lead to situations like this. So you can see the community notes are at the bottom of these posts on X where it says readers added context to this image. In fact, all of these examples show an advert selling a product and the community note is saying it's a scam or don't trust it, or it's not a reputable company. So really interesting to see that that is content we could begin to see across Meta. Shortly following the announcement, Google searches for deleting Facebook, Instagram, and Threads accounts increased sharply in the US. According to Google Trends, popular search queries included how to delete Facebook, how to delete all your photos on Facebook, alternative to Facebook. You can see BlueSky seeing some great activity there in terms of people searching for BlueSky, which has a far different approach to moderation, which I'm going to tell you about shortly. A breakout means that the search term grew by more than 5,000%. So alternative to Facebook and BlueSky were the two breakout searches there. Meta is revising its content rules to permit more discussions around politically debated topics such as immigration, gender identity, as I've said. They've also said that essentially they're reintroducing more political content across all of their platforms, which is a massive U-turn on what has previously been said about Threads. So when Threads came out, they said this isn't going to be a platform for news or politics, but actually they're changing that, and their plan is to push more political recommendations into the feeds and I guess see how they perform. The social media giant Meta has now provided more than $100 million for outside organizations certified by the International Fact Checking Network. So they're going to be obviously saving that money. But it will be really interesting to see how this affects content across the apps. From a social media management point of view, my advice would be you need to make sure you've got moderation processes in place, that you have a really clear strategy on who is going to monitor your notifications, monitor the page, and listen to what's being said across the platforms. It's certainly not a wise strategy to schedule your posts and never look at the platforms themselves. So you need to make sure that you've got time plugged in if as part of your social media week, where you are actually going to analyze what's being said on both your pages and relevant conversations or communities you're part of. Because if you do start to identify more dangerous conversation, it's a really important thing to consider whether your brand is going to be visible alongside that conversation as well. So we will see what happens to the advertising side of Meta, because of course, if they get this wrong, then I can imagine a lot of advertisers will no longer want to be presenting their ads right next to any content which is, debating immigration, for example. So we will see, but with everything in social media, I'm sure it's a topic we'll be coming back to and revisiting as the platforms begin to tweak.